Chloe Hart always believed that silence had a shape. In the Timber Lake Public Library, it gathered in mountain-shaped drifts between the shelves, eddied around the reference desk, and curled like wood smoke in the mezzanine, where the snow-capped peaks of the Colorado Rockies were framed by tall windows. Chloe, head librarian and self-described professional mouse, loved that hush. It wrapped her the way the softest quilt did on bitter January nights, insulating, protective, and dependable. The hush fractured on a Tuesday in late March, when spring thaw seeped through the town, but gusts still carried alpine chill. Chloe was cataloguing a box of donated books from the estate sale of Adelaide Walker, an elderly ranch widow who had died 2 weeks earlier in what the newspaper called a tragic solo accident on an icy road. Chloe remembered Mrs. Walker as a fierce bridge player who always returned her mysteries on time. The cardboard box smelled of cedar closets and peppermints. Most of the volumes were predictable: brittle Western romances, mail-order sewing guides, dog-eared Agatha Christie's. Nestled among them was a 1941 cloth-bound edition of Rocky Mountain Homestead Cooking. The spine was cracked. When Chloe lifted the cover, something shifted inside, a whisper against linen pages. She tipped the book, and a folded rectangle, yellowed and stiff, slid into her palm, and it looked like parchment plucked from an archaeology film set. Across the front, scrawled in faded iron gall ink, were the words, "Property of Silas Beaumont, train wrecker, on pain of bullet." Only one outlaw in local law carried that name, Silas Blackjack Beaumont, train robber, stagecoach marauder, and mountain ghost, who vanished with $50,000, 0 cents in bullion, after the 1899 Red Gorge holdup. Chloe's heart hammered. She glanced around the workroom as if someone might claim the parchment. No one was there but Gandil, the orange tabby who served as unofficial branch mascot and was asleep atop a pile of periodicals. Chloe unfolded the pages with surgical care. It was a map. Rough charcoal lines, elevations, and cryptic clues. Devil's Staircase, the Echoing Gate, where the river stops breathing, a faint X perched near Timberlake's eastern flank, inside the National Forest. Tiny embossed letters in one corner read B and F. 1900. Blood and frost, Chloe thought, recalling tales her father once spun over campfires. Legend said Beaumont had partnered with a brutal enforcer named Felix Frost. They buried their loot and then turned on each other. Only Beaumont survived, and even he melted into the high country, never to surface again. Most locals dismissed the story as dime novel puffery, but the initials on the parchment tingled up Chloe's spine. Her logical brain whispered, "Hand this to the sheriff." Yet curiosity evented, in secret, through late-night historical journals and archival rabbit holes, flared brighter. She slid the map back between cookbook pages, shelved the donation box under her desk, and tried to breathe normally while stamping due-date cards for patrons. That evening, she locked the library and trudged 6 blocks to her apartment over the bakery. Timberlake's streetlights painted gold halos in the drifting snowflakes. Chloe brewed chamomile tea, laid the map beside her laptop, and opened every article she could find on Beaumont. Newspaper archives repeated the same facts, but a dissertation from CSU contained an uncited anecdote. Beaumont's favorite hideout sat north of the river curve, past the limestone arch locals call the Echoing Gate. The identical phrase on the map felt like confidation lightning. Chloe needed a confidant, preferably one with survival skills exceeding her own ability to sprain an ankle on flat carpet. She texted Miguel Torres, childhood friend, forest ranger, and one of the few people who never treated her shyness like a handicap. "Could use your eyes on something weird, not library emergency, promise." Miguel responded in 3 minutes. "You have my curiosity and my truck. Breakfast tomorrow?" She typed a single word. Map. Miguel arrived at the bakery at dawn, smelling of pine and coffee. Chloe produced the cookbook and parchment. He whistled low. "This beats over Duke Fine spreadsheets. Please tell me it's just a picnic trail, not directions to cursed treasure. Miguel traced a gloved finger over topography. Echoing Gate is that natural arch near Emerald Ridge. Devil's Staircase is the Switchback Gulch where the CCC built those giant stone steps in the 30s. If the cartography's legit, X marks a spot a half-mile from an abandoned silver adit. Chloe's throat tightened. Would we be trespassing? Forest Service land. Perfectly legal to wander, though the old mine's off limits. Unstable. Miguel's eyes softened. You're excited, but you're also terrified. Want me to keep holding the match while you decide whether to light the fuse? She nodded, grateful. Let's scout Saturday. If it feels wrong, we turn around. They never reach Saturday without incident. Thursday night, someone broke into Timber Lake Public Library. Deputy Karen Olson found Chloe pacing in the parking lot at 7:12. Aching to herk again, the staff door's lock had been jimmied. Inside, only one thing seemed missing, the box of Adelaide Walker's donated books. Wonder suffocated beneath dread. Chloe had carried the cookbook home, but the rest of the box was gone, likely dumped because the burglar expected the map to still be inside it. Olson filed a report and promised extra patrols. Chloe, adrenaline fizzing under her skin, fingered the keychain loop where the map now rode in a waterproof sleeve. Someone else knew about Beaumont's trove. Someone willing to commit felony break-in for it. Miguel insisted they move their outing up to that very afternoon. Whoever searched the library might circle back to Adelaide's house for loose ends. We're safer finding whatever's out there before they do. I'm a librarian, not Lara Croft, Chloe argued, but she packed trail mix, headlamps, and a stray courage she hadn't used in years. They drove Miguel's pickup along the forest road beneath brooding grey skies. Mud ruts and thawing snow made the tires slither. When Miguel turned at the spur leading to Emerald Ridge, Chloe glimpsed headlights a quarter-mile back. A black Chevy Suburban, tinted windows, steady as a shark. "Company," she said. Miguel accelerated until washboard bumps rattled their teeth. The Suburban kept distance but never vanished. At the trailhead gate, a padlock dangled open, though the Forest Service always kept it secured this early in the season. "We're not first," Miguel muttered. They hiked a mile through lodgepole pines. Birdsong sounded muted, as if the forest held its breath. The echoing gate rose ahead, a 30-foot limestone arch framing cloud-stripped sky. Beneath it, the Devil's Staircase descended rocky switchbacks into a ravine where a seasonal stream stitched meltwater pools. Chloe unfolded the map. Past the 7th switchback, an arrow pointed left toward the river that stops breathing. They counted steps, boots crunching shale. On the 7th turn, Miguel halted. "Hear that? No trickles, no rush. Only silence so complete it pressed on eardrums. The stream here disappeared underground, swallowed by karst. River stopped breathing." Chloe's pulse hammered. She edged off trail toward a cluster of granite boulders, shaped like toppled dominoes. Behind them, half concealed by fallen timber, yawned the rotten mouth of a narrow mine adit. Miguel examined the entrance. "Timber cribbings collapsed. Be careful." His flashlight pierced the opening, illuminating rail ties and dust. 10 yards in, the tunnel widened into a stope. Amid rubble, a cedar chest squatted, black iron bands crusted with rust. Chloe's breath caught. "Is that?" A voice behind them answered. "It is." "And you're both going to step away." They spun. A woman stood at the entrance, black parka, hiking boots dusted with clay. Her revolver looked heavy and certain in her gloved hands. Behind her, 2 men in canvas jackets blocked any exit. The Suburban's driver. "My name's Veronica Pike," she said. "Attorney, entrepreneur, and great-granddaughter of Felix Frost. You have something that belongs to my family." Chloe's mouth dried. "The map?" "Among other things, my men will take it." Veronica's eyes were winter steel. Move slowly. Miguel raised his hands. Listen, lady. A shot cracked, sending a plume of rock dust from the wall near his shoulder. Next one center mass, Veronica said calmly. Chloe fumbled for the map tube clipped to her belt. Terror tried to freeze her, but a crystalline shard of anger punctured it. Adelaide Walker had died 2 weeks ago. The obituary mentioned she was Frost's great-granddaughter by marriage. Adelaide Frost before she wed Carl Walker. Veronica had motive to silence a relative who might reveal the parchment's location. You killed Adelaide, Chloe whispered. Veronica's jaw flexed. She was senile, started bragging about long-dead secrets. She nearly ruined everything. Murdering her didn't bury the secret, Chloe said, surprised at her own steadiness. It delivered the map straight to me. History's little irony. Veronica gestured with the revolver. Now, step aside. We open the chest together. If the gold's intact, you walk out, provided you forget you ever saw us. Miguel met Chloe's gaze, a silent calculus passing between them. Chances of escape near zero. Stalling, maybe? They backed toward the chest. Veronica motioned one henchman forward. He produced a crowbar and popped the corroded clasp. Inside lay neatly stacked leather pouches, a tarnished derringer, and a coil of oilcloth. The henchman slit the nearest pouch. Gold double eagles glittered. Veronica exhaled, reverent. At last. Chloe's mind raced. The tunnel ceiling above them bulged with moisture-dark seams. She'd read enough mining disaster accounts to know rotten beam plus vibration equals collapse. Her hands trembled, but words from her father's fireside geology lessons resurfaced. Percussion risk. She swung her flashlight, smacking it hard against a steel rail spike. Metal rang like a bell. A crack answered from the ceiling, followed by a groan. Veronica's eyes widened. What did you? A slab of schist tore free. Dust roared. Chloe dove sideways, dragging Miguel behind a timber pile as rock thundered down. Screams cut through the grit. When echoes faded, the tunnel's entrance lay buried under tons of debris. One henchman's boot protruded, still. Veronica and the other man were trapped on the far side, with Chloe and Miguel, but so was the chest, coughing, flashlight flickering. Chloe saw Veronica pinned under a timber, revolver clattered out of reach. The outlaw's descendant snarled, pain wailed. Miguel pushed rubble off her leg. It's fractured, he declared. You need a splint if you want to leave alive. Veronica's bravado cracked like shale. Help me, and I'll forget you were ever here. You murdered Adelaide and tried to kill us, Chloe snapped. A journalin giving her bravery she didn't recognize. You'll answer for that. Miguel bound Veronica's leg with bandana and broken axe handle. Then he eyed the wall behind the chest. Drafts coming through. Must be an old ventilation raise connecting upslope. They hauled the chest aside, revealing a crawl space veiled by rotted planks. Miguel tested rock overhead. Stable enough. Chloe fetched 2 gold coins and slid them into her pocket. Not for greed, but proof. She pointed her flashlight into the shaft. Goes up 40 feet, I think. Miguel fashioned a rope from survey tape and his climbing line. He coaxed Veronica to crawl, cursing between them. The ascent was agonizing. Chloe's knees bruised on quartz seams, but each foot upward smelled of sap-fresh air. They emerged behind a screen of junipers on a steep hillside. Afternoon sun peeked through clouds. Snowmelt trickled over moss. For a minute, they simply breathed. Sirens drifted from the valley. Deputy Olsen's cruiser wailing along the forest road. Miguel grinned, revealing the radio clip to his belt. Pressed the emergency ping the second the shooting started. Signal spotty up here, but it looks like it carried. Veronica paled, rage emptying into resignation. You fools! Don't understand legacy. That treasure belongs to Frost blood. History's not inheritance when it's written in bullets, Chloe said. Deputies arrived, weapons drawn. Veronica was arrested, her surviving henchman cuffed beside her. Search and rescue teams would later recover the body of the other man and retrieve the chest. Chloe handed Olsen the 2 coins. Evidence Beaumont's loot is real. The deputy stared, whistle low. You may have just rewritten Colorado folklore. In the days that followed, media vans clogged Timber Lake's streets. Chloe avoided cameras by shelving books with monastic intensity, though everyone now wanted a quote from the librarian's sleuth. The state awarded finder's fee percentages to Miguel, and Chloe more money than either had seen. Chloe donated half to expand the children's reading loft. The rest she tucked away for quiet adventures of her own choosing. At Adelaide Walker's postponed memorial, Chloe laid a single alpine blue columbine beside the urn. "You kept the secret until you couldn't," she whispered. "I hope this sets things right." Spring unfurled fully. Snowmelt boomed in creeks. One evening, Chloe and Miguel sat on the library mezzanine, watching sunset burn the peak's copper. Gandalf sprawled between them, purring like distant thunder. Miguel nudged her elbow. "You know, people keep asking when you'll write a book about all this." Chloe smiled, surprise blossoming that the idea no longer petrified her. "Maybe. But first I'd like to catalogue a different collection." "What collection?" She reached into her satchel and produced the map, now sealed in archival mylar. "Beaumont's clues. There are notes about other stashes. We only found the first chest." Miguel's eyebrows climbed. "Round two?" "Only if there's good company." Her cheeks warmed, yet she held his gaze. Outside, twilight stitched lavender shadows across Timber Lake, but the hush inside the library felt changed, alive with possibility rather than fear. Silence had a shape, Chloe realized, but it could also have a pulse, and when it beat in rhythm with newfound courage, even a shy librarian could make legends breathe again.